Hey guys, sorry we haven't been given the updates as you would like them. Unfortunately, we had a massive issue on my end in regards to my computer. So it meant that weeks 3 and 4 have kind of spliced together into one. The only other problem being, as I'm recording this, we're about to enter into episode 5 or week 5, and Battles of Legend has just dropped along with the Legendary Duelist, which didn't make much difference, but it's mainly due to Battles of Legend and the Numeron issue, which meant that most of our recordings for games is completely outdated. Most of the meta now is based around Numeron. So it meant that I've not got any games for you to show you for this time. So this is going to be an extremely quick update before we get back into proper episodes, which will be technically episode 4, but I'm going to call it episode 5 because this is week. Cause it's supposed to be either episode by episode or week by week. So let me just go through what we ended up getting for both those episodes, just so you kind of get an idea of what's changed in the deck. We have stayed to our £20 budget, which was for the 2 weeks. But let's go through what we got and what we've changed in the deck. So for week 3, we actually went down an extra deck route essentially, where we really improved the extra deck so that we have in here Nightmare Phoenix, which was a really good pickup, Saryuja Skuldred. We also picked up a Odd Eyes Absolute Dragon and a Crowley the First Prophecyr. To round out what was our week 3, we also picked up a second Chronograph Sorcerer before they have completely run out of stock on the place I'm buying a lot of these singles. Luckily, as of right now, they've started to get the Chronographs back in, but it might be a little bit more expensive than last time. But that was our week 3. The major issue with the deck still then with the week 3 pickups was the fact that we didn't pick up the Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon. I didn't realize how vital Vortex Dragon was for Absolute Dragon to really go off, which is something that I couldn't even afford to get for week 4. It's not expensive. It's under £1, but because of the cards we picked up for week 4, we couldn't afford to get it for that one. So it makes sense that for week 5, that Vortex will be our major pickup, along with other couple of bits and pieces. The test games for week 3 were kind of all over the place. Essentially, it was we could get to certain points where we could end on a board with Saryuja and maybe one Endymion, but that was about as far as we could go. The deck was still had quite a few holes in it. Week 4 came along, however, and the first card we picked up was a best offer on a Selene, Queen of Master Magicians, which meant that we had a lot of budget left over. It was surprising the deal we got on this. I think it ended up being around £3 versus the £5 markup that she's on right now. So we saved ourselves quite a lot of money there. And I cannot underestimate. I underestimated how powerful Selene was, and I cannot state enough how good Selene is for the deck. It essentially means that Endymion can use this effect twice, and it in a single turn. It's just so good to do. On top of the Selene, we went back into the main deck to change some bits and pieces. So we actually picked up an Upstart Goblin and 2 Allure of Darknesses. They only had 2, and they were in pretty bad condition, which is why we got a little bit of a steal on them. They are, and when I say pretty bad damage, when we get to an actual deck profile when we've in week 5, you will see that there is actual card print has come off. So something's either stuck to them, or the card print was really, really bad. Doesn't matter. We got 2 of them, and that's a bonus. We need a third, but that's for later. We also have a Performer Pal Celestial Magician. So the major thing I'm going to really bring in here is the fact that where our deck stands right now is that we could have gone into 2 very different builds. We could have gone into pure Endymion pendulums, or we could have gone into Magician pendulums. Now, Magician pendulums is a little bit more budget, but it also looks a lot more fun to play. And right now, I really want to play a really fun deck that can do some competitive things, rather than go down the route of highly competitive, having to pick up all the highest rarity things, which would include eventually 3 souls. That's something I'd rather not do, because let's face it, I'm going to end up having to buy a lot of packs of Legendary Hero Magical Duelist just to pick up the 2 more souls. I'm happy just with the 1, and the Magician build doesn't even need the one, but it works really well with having one. So this is why our Harmonizing Magician is now in the deck. It's a really good card. There is a card actually missing in here. We picked up on week 2, which is Black Rose Dragon. That is also in the deck as well. So for our week 4 pickups, we've got the Performer Past Celestial Magician. It's our first Magician to put into the deck that helps out with a lot of different things. Especially because it means that you can do a level 8 play with these two, because Harmonizing is special on any Magician from the deck. So it means there's another target rather than just Time Gazer. We also picked up, it wasn't a lot we picked up for week 4, because it's these 3, even though these were cheaper, it costs a lot of money. And then we got the Performance Celestial. It was Arcanite. Arcanite Magician is something I'm just teching in for now, as a kind of a fun way to see if we can actually make Arcanite Magician do something, because we don't have a lot of destruction effects right now, and once we get to a point where we're getting better XCs, better negates, Arcanite is going to be dropped pretty quickly. But right now, because we produce so many spell counters and we have Endymion Citadel as a card that we can get to quite easily, Arcanite Magician gets a lot of spell counters to start blowing stuff up on the board. So if there's a massive threat, Arcanite can actually start blowing up and still keep her 2 counters to make her a 2/4 beat stick. So we've got a lot of options now. The deck runs so much nicer now, just for the fact you have a Selene. The Selene in the deck makes it run so much nicer. The addition of the 3 draw cards is really good as well. But we are still in need of a couple more draw spells. And grabbing hold of Vortex. The other major thing we're going to be doing as well from week 5 is because of the big thing, which is Numerons being out and about, we are going to need to look into getting hand traps. And Drolunok Bird is not going to cut it anymore. Drolunok is really, for the current meta, is not going to be good at all. I can probably keep with running 2 in the sideboard, but Drolunok main is probably going to no longer be a thing. So we've got a couple options. We can go into Effect Veiler. If we go Veiler, it means it's still a level 1 spellcaster. And with that, we can get an extra option for Magical Abductor. And it also means we can negate effects. So we could potentially stop monster effects. So we could probably stop Zexal. It's not great, but it's better than nothing. And then there's other stuff like Cherry Blossom and Psyframe Alpha. I think it's Psyframe Alpha. It's just been reprinted into Chaos as a rare, along with Psyframe Driver. Those 2 cards they're not really good for the deck, as they are both psychics, but it is another hand trap we can play to stop effects if we need to. We also have the option of going into Time Pendulum Graph, which is make it our first trap card for the deck. And so we've got some options to play. I'm going to have to look around and see what we can do for prices and whatnot. And hopefully everything goes back to normal for week 5. So sorry that the episode's a bit too short this time, especially for the fact it's 2 episodes in one go. But it makes more sense with the fact that everything has dramatically changed already, that we end up holding off for week 3 and 4 and just wait and do everything for week 5. So thank you very much for watching, and you'll see me again for episode 5, where hopefully we'll have a better deck for the new Numeron Menace.